I'm Tommy Gibbs, and thanks for taking time to watch this video. If there's something on this video that you find useful, do me a favor. If you're viewing this on Facebook, please share it with your friends, and please consider subscribing to my YouTube. I got used cars in the brain. To my YouTube channel. I'd appreciate that very much. I think there's a little link at the bottom. You can do that. What I want to talk to you today is about something I'm seeing that going on in the industry that I think that you need to be on top of and have a great understanding of. When I'm doing this video, it's January the 27th, 2021. We're in the middle of the pandemic and coming right off of an election. It wouldn't matter, by the way, if you were watching this in 2023. The principles are still all the same. Here's what I'm seeing going on. We went through the pandemic. You go back to March and April. Dealers were really worried about their inventories. Some even considered selling off their inventory because the bottom had dropped out. I'm talking about March 2020. The bottom had dropped out. Everybody was worried. They didn't know what the pandemic was going to bring to the table. Some people actually panicked and did that. They dumped them at the auction. The theory was if you go ahead and dump those, take that cash, cars are cheap, you can buy cars a lot cheaper. And maybe there's some pros and cons to that. I'm not a big fan of it, but for some people, maybe it worked. I'd rather see you retail your cars. But that said, we went through March, April, May, things really started to get better. And my goodness, what we found out was the pandemic actually helped us with our inventories. We were able to sell stuff that was actually aged on some dealers, and we were able to make money on it because the law of supply and demand had kicked in. New cars weren't being produced. People were considering used cars instead, and because we weren't getting many trades, the market was really, really up. And anybody watching this, you're very familiar with what happened, and no doubt in 2020, almost every deal I've talked to had an all-time record year for profits. So the pandemic actually helped us get our inventory squared away. For those people that had some aging stuff, my goodness, they got a ton of money for those cars and they were able to work out of them. I mean, they got their inventories clean. But wait a minute, here we are in January 2021, and some of you are starting to have aged inventory again, and I don't understand that. Why haven't you learned some lessons here? I mean, look, there is no reason whatsoever, aside from a title problem or some reason you can't actually sell a car, there's no reason for having an aged unit, age being over 60 or 45 or 30, depending on what that car is all about and whether it's problematic or not, or whether you're using my life cycle management process. But there's no excuse, none, zero, nada. There's no excuse in having cars over 60. You might be sitting there saying, well, we're hanging on to these cars because, tax season is upon us and we're stocking up for the spring. I just ask you to make sure that when that's all said and done, that you really run the numbers and let me know how it worked out for you. Maybe it's going to work out for you great, but stocking inventory today to sell 60 or 90 days down the road doesn't generally work out. I mean, you need to continue to be thinking more and more about a rolling 30-day turn and 30 days worth of inventory. I think that's a good benchmark to be shooting for. Yeah, look, I understand that you're going to want to stock more cars at certain times of the year. The number one problem, though, is we don't take a look at where we've been in the history of the store. If you take and do some bar graphs and go back 3 or 4 or 5 years by month in your retail sales, you're going to see some peaks and valleys. I get that, and you need to get that. You need to take a look at it, because bottom line is that there are times of the year when you need more inventory, and there's times when you need less. We always want to be seeking some percentage of improvement in what we're doing, and that's going to be inventory related. It's also going to be salesperson related. I'm always fascinated when people do their forecast. They're basing a forecast out of something they pull out of butt, or it's pie in the sky, or they're lowballing with somebody. I don't know what, but they're not taking into consideration how many salespeople do we have. How many cars do they average selling, and how many cars do we have on the ground? Those are components that you always need to be thinking about. But the reason I brought that up was about the peaks and valleys. So yeah, are you going to want to have more inventory maybe in April and May? Possibly, but loading up on it right now might not be the best approach for you. So my concern and the reason for doing this video is I'm seeing people who got their mess squared away. They got everything, all the age stuff went away. They made some money on it. Hallelujah. The pandemic helped them. But now they've gone right back to the old way of doing business, which is not profitable. Look, The pandemic is an exception. I hope you're not betting on another pandemic to come along to save you. That's a really bad idea or bad strategy. Look, I'm Tommy Gibbs. If I can help you, please reach out. Please start to give it some thought about that stuff you're letting age on you. There's a price someone's willing to pay on every card that you have out there. You just haven't hit that price point yet. They'll go away, but it's not going to get any better for you. I'm babbling, but it's not going to get any better for you. So get rid of that stuff. Retail your way out of it, and once you get on that true 60-day turn, you're not going to ever want to go back. Thanks, and have a great day.